Everyone, what's going on? This video is going to be, who is the dumbest person you ever met? And how did you know? Posted by Aspiring MAGA. First one. My former boss was worried that the island of Manhattan would sink with all the extra visitors for New Year's and the ball dropping. She thought islands float, and when she found out that wasn't true, she thought it was so funny that she told everyone the story. She was later fired for withholding a pay raise from someone on her team because he didn't accept her sexual advances. He had the text to prove it. A girl in my art class in high school thought there was just a part of the cow called meat. When we explained meat is the muscles, she freaked out and became vegetarian. Had a girl I worked with at McDonald's, sweet as could be, but denser than the concrete the store sat on. Two moments stand out to me. One, she thought the Great Wall of China was in Arizona. Two, she firmly believed north was whatever direction you were looking at the moment. My wife wanted to meet an old friend from school she hadn't seen for about 20 years. We went to dinner and he brought his wife, who he met 2 months ago, who was a male entertainer, and her 2 kids. He was white, she was black, and he spent the whole night trying to start crap with people for making racist comments about their relationship behind their back. They weren't. When we finally got into talking, he told me about 9 jump points that exist to get off the earth. I thought to myself, oh boy, a flat earther. I've never met a real one before. But no, that's not what he was talking about. That would have been so much better than what he was talking about. He said there were 9 jump points on Earth that are essentially wormholes to other planets, and that there is one in New York City that goes to Mars, and that the American government has already colonized Mars and is hiding it from the people. And he was dead serious. My friend and ex-roommate legitimately believed that cats only had one hole, as in they peed and pooped and had sex, etc. through one hole. I understand that some birds, reptiles, and fish have cloaca, but mammals, he owns 3 cats. He also refuses to neuter them because he thinks it's unhealthy. They're constantly going in and out of heat, miserably yowling and writhing all over the apartment, which didn't allow pets. They're inside cats. Dude has no business owning a pet of any kind, and if I think long enough, I can definitely come up with more examples of his absurd stupidity. My first ever girlfriend thought you had to study for an STD test. She was really pretty. I live in southern Spain. I once met a girl from the US who was here on some kind of exchange program. When I asked her how did she like Spain so far, she said, I'm loving it. I just don't know why the plane took so long to get here. I mean, we were just a bit below Mexico. I don't know why the flight was so long. Then I told her that we were in Europe, and she didn't believe me. Her reply was, Europe? It can't be. Everyone speaks Spanish, so we must be somewhere near Mexico for sure. She was in uni. I still don't know how or why. My ex-sister-in-law is hands down the dumbest person I've ever encountered. There's literally a plethora of fucking insanely stupid things she said over the years, but I'll use the one that almost made me slap the taste out of her mouth. I had my first son back in 2001, and while I was pregnant, she asked me if I was going to breastfeed, to which I replied that I was. She then asked, even if it's a girl? And I said, of course. She then proceeded to tell me that it's perfectly fine to breastfeed boys, but doing so with girls is creepy and can make the child a lesbian, because they get the feel of breast and will remember it and want that sexually. To say that I was stunned by her thought process is an understatement. I asked her what she thought people did before formula was invented, and she said cow's milk, and before bottles were invented it was rags soaked in cow's milk. Side note, she has 3 daughters and wouldn't allow her husband to change their diapers or bathe them. Had a girl tell me she was scared to give her black boyfriend a blowjob because I don't know if his cum would be white or black. That was definitely the moment I knew. Please take moments like this to educate people. This Asian dude literally thought since I was black, belts don't work for me, and I was doomed to sag for my entire life. Like, no, Mr. Tran, I just left it at home. You see me wear one every fucking day. Like, who the fuck is telling people that we're aliens or something? Worked with a lady who I convinced you could buy a full-size dinosaurs online. Also believed Denzel Washington was a president when Obama was in office. No lie. Well, joke's on you, ugly chode muffin, or at least half of what you said. Because you can actually buy full-size dinosaurs online at any of the major auction sites. When they come to market, that is. One just sold last year for like $2 million. If you just Google it, you can see. But anyway, was dating this girl a while back, and we were going to dinner one night and talking about chicken cutlets or something, and she was like, I wonder what part of the cow it comes from. I literally was in such shock that this 30-year-old woman with a master's degree just made such a ridiculous statement. Completely dumbfounded. Well, that goes to show you, just because you have a degree doesn't make you smart. Dang it, I'm late to the party. Anyway, I was a cook a few years ago, and on this particular busy night, we ran out of lobster mac and cheese. This one waitress could not understand how this was possible and just kept nagging in disbelief. I got annoyed to the point that I told her the reason for this was that there was a shortage of people with small enough hands to milk lobster's tiny nipples. Hence, a worldwide shortage of lobster milk to make that dish. I had to come clean with her when she started telling this to customers, and they demanded to speak to a manager. I went to high school with this guy who probably had about 3 brain cells. He was a stereotypical redneck. Here's a list of the stupid shit he did that I can name off the top of my head. During a music class, where we had a work period for some project, he asked the teacher if he could go make up a test he had missed earlier that week for a different class. The teacher said yes. He left the room, went into the band's instrument storage room, took a nap, then got really pissed at the teacher for not letting him make up the test. In the same music class, we had to use GarageBand to create a soundtrack for something, and there were some guidelines we had to follow. Instead of following the guidelines, this kid just filled the timeline with random loops, admitted to doing that, then tried to argue with the teacher about his grade for the project, a 20%. Tried to become a SoundCloud rapper. He recorded his mixtape in the school bathroom, then deleted it about 3 weeks later because everyone made fun of him for it. The only line I actually remember was from a diss track where he said, roasted in a pan of ovens. Started fights with 4 different people and got his ass kicked 3 times. The one guy who didn't beat him up was 2 years younger, 6 inches, 15 centimeters shorter, and probably about 80 pounds lighter. One fight was started because someone made an incest joke about him and his cousin. One was because someone made fun of him for previously mentioned line from his mixtape. One was because someone was calling him by his rapper name, his initials, which is apparently disrespectful because the other guy didn't know his middle name. And one was because he was flirting with a girl who already had a boyfriend. Bragged about getting his very own tractor, but refused to show anyone pictures of it. A few weeks later, someone finally convinced him to show a picture. It was a fucking lawnmower. Got caught watching porn during class on his school laptop. Responded by punching it and breaking the screen. Tried out for the baseball team one year. Couldn't go back for a fly ball without falling on his ass. Missed every pitch during batting practice. And got mad at the coach for not letting him on the team. I was working retail at the time, and this lady walks in and asks me to tell her when it is 10:15 a.m. She needs to catch a bus. We were slow, so I obliged. 10:15 rolls around, and I tell her so. She drops her stuff and runs out to get to the bus. 5 minutes later, she comes back scowling, and she then lectures me on how to tell time. How much is a quarter? 25 cents. So why would you tell me a quarter after 10 a.m. is 10:15? It's 10:25 a.m. I asked the temp at work to weigh a couple of lever arch files for postage. She came back and told me they were 65 kilograms. I asked if it were possible that it was 6.5 kilograms, but she insisted it wasn't. We argued about it for a good 5 minutes. It wasn't until I asked her how much she weighed that I finally twigged that these 2 small folders couldn't possibly weigh more than her. Alright guys, I think that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. and hopefully stick around for the next video.